Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Really glad to have this man back. Of course, the House Oversight Committee Chair. It's James Comer, District 1 Representative of the great state of Kentucky. James, how are you? Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me on.
A big news day. You know, it was interesting. I had Alan Dershowitz on yesterday. We talked a lot about how ridiculous this case is. He's 86 now. He said in his 60 years plus practicing law, he's never seen a worse criminal case ever. This is the worst case he's ever seen out of New York City. This Judge Merchan case, this 34 felonies made out of expired misdemeanors. He said he's never seen anything like it, but he did think that Merchan would try to sentence Trump. We just found out today, obviously, a little while ago, that Merchan has now put it off until after the election. I'm hearing the Democrats might have pressured him to do that because convicting him, or sentencing, I should say, would actually hurt Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts about the big news today out of New York?
Well, you're exactly right. It just shows how big a sham this whole case was. Look, he is going to try to sentence Donald Trump. And, this is personal for him. He's enjoying his 15 minutes of fame. He is truly an example of a weaponized judiciary right now with pitiful left-wing activist judges like him. But he was told by his Democrat superiors, his bosses, not to do this because it will unintentionally help Donald Trump. So he said he's trying to do everything by the book. He's trying to abide by the law, abide by the Constitution. He is a political hack.
Yes.
This is more evidence of that today. And I'm happy that we can finish the last 60 days of this election and hopefully get on track and talk about the issues and not talk about whatever phony sentence was going to be handed down to Donald Trump.
I think you're exactly right. This guy is a political hack. He wanted to sentence Donald Trump. He doesn't. But the Democrats always seem to be 2 or 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
What do you think the thought process is? Should Trump win, and it looks good, should he win, then they sentence him and try to throw him in prison? I'm not following why they would do this.
Absolutely. They're definitely going to sentence him. They're going to do whatever they can if he wins. If he loses, they may still do it. I mean, who knows? But at the end of the day, I think that they're obsessed with Donald Trump. They want to do everything they can to get back at Donald Trump. This is political retribution because Trump has embarrassed him. Trump has exposed the corruption within the entire judiciary. The deep state hates Donald Trump. They're going to do whatever they can to get back at Donald Trump. So I fully expect the worst for Donald Trump after the election because they know before the election it's probably going to backfire on them.
District 1 Republican, great state of Kentucky. It's James Comer, also the House Oversight Committee Chair. Can Congress do anything? Can you guys do anything in a case like that? We know the guy told the jury, you can find him guilty on any charge you feel like it. We're going to call it unanimous. That doesn't work. They resurrected misdemeanors that were dead. They're not felonies. The FEC said there was no connection to federal elections, and this connection that Bragg made doesn't make any sense. So can a federal committee in the U.S. House of Representatives do anything, or does this have to go through the judiciary?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've got Jim Jordan and I have talked about that. Obviously, he's chairman of the Judiciary Committee. We have a Weaponization Select Committee. It looks like the main thing that the committees can do is expose the truth, expose the corruption, give the American people the truth. What we can do that unfortunately the Republicans have proven unwilling to do is cut the budgets, exercise the power of the purse.
Yes.
We're supposed to have a system of checks and balances to where if you have a bad member of the judiciary, there's someone in the Department of Justice or there's someone in the judiciary branch or the executive branch that can step in and hold them accountable. But what's happening now is they're all on the same team. You've got all the corrupt judiciary with one ideology, and that is obviously a very left-wing ideology, and they all have one goal, and that's to take down Donald Trump. So the whole system of checks and balances has been thrown out the window. The one thing Congress could do legislatively is cut budgets, but at the end of the day, it doesn't appear that that's going to happen. But we will continue to give the American people the truth and try to bring these people in and expose them for what they are. They're complete frauds.
Jamie, can you bring Matthew Colangelo, the former number 3 guy at the DOJ, who decided to take a major demotion and go to a local a DA's office? Can you bring him in front of your committee? Can Jordan bring him in front of his committee? This guy, I would love to see nationally on live television this guy explain why he decided to take 8 steps backward in his career.
Yeah, well, I would love to have him in the Oversight Committee. That's a judiciary thing. I'm going to see Jordan Monday. We're going to talk about this more. I think that at the end of the day, the American people deserve the truth. And the one thing that the Oversight and Judiciary Committees have been able to do, especially with the Biden family influence peddling, is give the American people the truth, put public pressure on the people in the judiciary to do their jobs. And we've seen that type of accountability just in the last few days with respect to the President Biden's family.
I want to get into that full-throated in a second. It's U.S. Representative, District 1 Republican from the great state of Kentucky, James Comer. But I do have to go to Jack Smith. I just want to get the Trump stuff out of the way. Jack Smith was illegally put in place, was never appointed, then approved by the Senate. There is no special counsel office that you can make out of thin air. As you said, you guys control the purse strings in the House. Can't you just make his salary $1? Can't you make his office have zero budget? He's spending millions of dollars on cases that have been thrown out, and once it gets thrown out, he indicts Trump again. Can't you stop this guy?
We should do away with special counsels. I've been saying this for 2 years. I'm the one guy that would go on conservative shows and say we do not need a special counsel, and there would be some of the far right members of Congress that would come in. We need a special counsel. We need a special counsel. The reason I don't like special counsels is what we're talking about now. Yeah. Congress really doesn't have any authority to do anything to stop them. They're created to be independent of everything, and even with everything that arises, even with the recent assassination attempt on Trump, I still saw conservatives run on podcasts and conservative meetings say, we need a special counsel. And I want to pull my hair out because the whole special counsel process is based on the assumption that you trust the attorney general to appoint someone fair.
And we do not.
Merrick Garland is Attorney General. He's not going to appoint anyone fair. I have zero confidence in Merrick Garland. But even if we have a Republican Attorney General that's a good Attorney General, I still think we need to do away with the special counsel because there's no accountability. They're not required to be transparent. They're on no timeline. And they have an endless supply of money in their budget. So I just think that the whole special counsel business model needs to be done away with.
Congressman, should Trump win in November, and you and I hope he does, and millions of others hope that he does as well, can the members of the DOJ now, from the FBI to the DHS and Merrick Garland himself, could they face charges if, in fact, lawfare and law breaking is exposed? These people act as if they're above the law. Can they be charged?
Yes, and that's what we hope happens, and that's what role we hope the Oversight and Judiciary can play in a Trump administration with a Trump Department of Justice. Look, we've proven all of these cover-ups. We've proven all of these lies with the Steele dossier, all the false statements that were delivered by the intelligence community, the fact that they were colluding with the social media companies to spread lies, to spread disinformation, to censor conservative speech. These people need to be identified and held accountable. We know several names, but we need to work with a fair Attorney General, a fair Department of Justice, and terminate these people. At the very least, they need to be terminated. Now, remember, they're protected by the civil servants laws. They're protected by the merit laws. So they think that they're insulated and shielded from ever losing their job. I think some of them should go to jail, but at the very least, I think they should all lose their jobs and lose their federal pensions, just like any corrupt politician does. So this is a goal that I hope we're able to achieve. It's not just about exposing the truth. It's about holding people in the deep state accountable. Yes. And that's one thing that I think the Oversight and Judiciary Committees can do successfully in a Trump administration.
Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, it is Representative James Comer. We appreciate the time and the access. One last thing about the DOJ and your oversight of it, and I know that the Weaponization Committee is looking at this very closely as well. Did Peter Strzok and Lisa Page really get $1.5 million because their texts were exposed, texts that were on government-paid-for devices?
Well, that's what the media is saying. We've requested information to verify that, but that press reports are saying that, and I think that's a disgrace. That should be public record. He violated the law. He was dishonest with the American people. He abused his power. He abused his office. That should be public record, and he should not be entitled to one penny of taxpayer dollars.
I couldn't agree more. It's James Comer. Let's get into Hunter Biden. I don't know, Jamie. This thing stinks to me. Why does he suddenly plead guilty? Is it because, and I think you did a great job, is it because of the amazing job you did? Is it because they knew that he was between a rock and a hard place? Is it about the election? Are they trying to get this out of the way? Why does Hunter Biden plead guilty, do you think?
Because we published the report. We have 100% of the receipts. He took all this money in from foreign countries and bad people in rogue nations. He didn't pay a penny of taxes on it. They laundered the money through all these shell companies. There's no question he violated many laws in addition to tax evasion. He violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Unfortunately, the Department of Justice let that the statute of limitations expire on that. But with respect to tax evasion, he never paid a penny of taxes on the money that he took in from his influence peddling schemes. Remember, the money that he's being charged with in California was his Burisma salary. Right. And as corrupt as Burisma was, and as unethical as it was for him to be on that board, it was a legitimate company, and he got a real W-2 for that. He just didn't pay taxes on it. Now, according to the IRS whistleblowers, the $27 million that we identified that he put in his pockets for selling access to his father, he never paid a penny of taxes on that either. The IRS never charged him on that. They just charged him on what he failed to pay taxes on with his W-2 from Burisma. This guy owes millions more in taxes, and it looked like David Weiss was prepared to go there, and that's why they settled. This is just a tip of the iceberg. What he's settling on, what he's trying to get the offered plea on, is just a tip of the iceberg. They realized it, and that's why they settled.
The 27 million number has been out there a lot, and people are confused about what it represents. Without a doubt, I know that you've got the receipts that say this family received $27 million we can identify. We can show you the receipts. They received it. What exactly was the product or service they allege they received the money for? Because again, you didn't pay taxes on it. But like when I do my taxes, I'm a talk show host, and here's how much I made from this entity. Here's how much I made from that entity. I gave them my show. I gave them ad revenue, whatever. How are they identifying this income? We know the income happened. What are they calling it?
They're trying to say it was consulting, which there's a term for that in Washington. It's called lobbying. And you have to be registered to be a lobbyist. And if you lobby a foreign entity, you have to be a registered foreign agent. So they never had a business. In the beginning, they tried to say it was an investment company. We proved in our investigation their investment company didn't have any investments, not a single investment. This was all a scam. The way they set up these LLCs to launder the money so they could not only hide what they were doing unethically from taking money from our adversaries around the world, so they could evade paying taxes. And again, I can't say this enough. The $27 million they took in, according to the IRS whistleblowers, they never paid a penny of taxes on that. The charges in California, again, are from his money from Burisma. This guy thinks he's above paying taxes, and his dad wants to double the size of the IRS so that they can go after tax sheets when there's no bigger tax sheets in America than the Biden family.
What's amazing about this is, if I'm getting what you're laying down, had they paid taxes and done this all on the books, might we not even know about it?
Maybe not, were it not for the laptop. We wouldn't know anything without the laptop. Remember, that's why the deep state freaked out when the laptop was about to be released by the New York Post, because they knew it showed not only the crimes the Biden family had committed, but the more serious cover-up, the fact that the IRS, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Department of Justice, the FBI, they all told people to stand down. All four of those agencies were investigating the Bidens, and they were all told to stand down by high-level career employees in those agencies. And those are the employees that need to be held accountable. They need to be drug in front of a congressional committee, and they need to lose their job and their federal pensions.
House Oversight Committee Chairman, it is James Comer. Jamie, is it different when somebody, obviously it's corruption. If you're paying for access, that's corruption. But if we can prove that Joe Biden got Barack Obama to change policy in favor of Kazakhstan or Russia or China, does that change the game? Is that something different? Is that treason? Is that something worse?
Yeah, I think it's a lot worse. And I think that we exhibited that.
It happened, right?
Sent that to the American people with Burisma when he fired Shokin. That was obvious. I've talked about on TV a lot the fact that one of the first acts Joe Biden did when he became president was he canceled the China initiative. That was the big federal investigation of the Chinese spies in our research universities. He canceled that on the first day, one of his first acts as president. And what we learned through the course of the investigation was he took $8 million from China. It wasn't a Chinese company. It was from China.
Wow.
China laundered it through an LLC, a shell company, and then the money came through LLCs that the Biden set up. I mean, this whole thing was a way to funnel money from rogue nations to the back pockets of the Biden family members. And right. Of course they changed policies. You look at Joe Biden, he had the softest on China policy of any president in America. But now if Harris and Waltz win, then Waltz may take this to a whole different level, because unlike Hunter was doing this and the Bidens were soft on China because they were getting paid. They were compromised because they were getting paid and they had already taken money from China. It appears that Waltz just really likes China. He really likes the ideology. He likes the communist business model. And, either way, China's a winner if the Democrats keep winning in elections.
I'd like to know how he spent 2 years there while he was in the United States National Guard. That seems very, 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 very weird to me. It's James Comer. You go and follow him right now on all the social media, Comer.House.Gov. One last quick question on all of this. Barack Obama had to have known, but he hasn't profited, it doesn't seem, like the Biden family did. Obama puts Biden in charge of Ukraine for a specific reason. Ukraine was the most corrupt country on earth. What is the connection there? Why is, Obama's very rich, but I don't see any information that he benefited like the Bidens did. So why allow it?
Well, Obama didn't have to do what Biden did, because Obama knew, as young as he was, as charismatic as he was, once he left office, he was going to cash in.
Yes.
And he did. And I don't think, he's done anything illegal from a financial standpoint since he's left office. But the fact that he knew, and by all accounts, he knew Joe Biden was shady. And I believe that's why they pushed Joe Biden out and put Hillary Clinton in. They never liked Hillary Clinton. They didn't even want to put Hillary Clinton in as Secretary of State because Hillary wouldn't drop out once Barack Obama had secured the nomination. She kept running because my home state, Kentucky, was one of the last states. Obama already had enough delegates. She stayed on the ballot and campaigned in Kentucky, and she won the state, even though Obama was the nominee. So there was a lot of resentment there between the Obama circles and the Clinton circles, but they knew Joe Biden was a crook. So they wanted Joe Biden out. They knew what he was doing in Ukraine. I believe they knew what he was doing in Romania. Now think about this. Joe Biden gave 2 speeches on corruption while he was vice president in 2 foreign countries. The 2 countries were Ukraine and Romania. And through our investigation, we found that the Bidens took in millions of dollars while he was vice president from these countries. And they can't say what they did to receive the money. That's what's so appalling is the media always said, well, Hunter Biden was in business like Jared Kushner and Donald Trump Jr., but they would never say what business.
Right.
In the beginning, they tried to say it was an investment business. We proved through emails from a bank examiner that there were no investments. The bank examiner said this appears to be an investment company with no investments. All they're doing is charging fees to these foreign companies that don't appear to be legitimate either. That was the bank examiners saying that. So, at the end of the day, I think the Bidens will go down in history as the most corrupt family in America. But what we should be most concerned about is the fact that people like Barack Obama, people in the Justice Cabinet, and people in the FBI knew it all along and went to great lengths to cover it up to protect the Bidens so they wouldn't embarrass the Democrat brand.
I mean, that has to be fact, or else they couldn't have gotten away with it. It is James Comer, U.S. Representative, District 1 Republican, great state of Kentucky, also the House Oversight Committee Chair. We always appreciate the time and the access. I love how fired up you get about protecting America and making right over wrong a priority. Jamie, thanks a lot for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. We're back after this. Stay right here.